Scott just found this little guy. He was under the wheelbarrow wheel. Praise the Lord, he saw them and he didn't run over him. Hello, I hope you're having a lovely day today. I'm going to share on a verse that we are all familiar with, and most of the time I hope to not be familiar with this verse because it's a hard one. Even as I went to grab my Bible to read it, just to make sure I'm saying everything accurately, I found myself taking a deep breath before reading it out loud to myself, and I thought, isn't that true with this verse? It requires a deep breath. And that is Proverbs 13, verse 12. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a desire fulfilled is a tree of life. And I know many of you watch my videos while doing other things, washing dishes, cleaning. But for those of you who are watching, you're probably wondering, why have I just watched a minute of a little turtle in your yard? And that ties into everything that I'm talking about in this video. I have been focusing on living a slow life. I've been talking about that a lot in my videos. It's because it's what I've really been practicing, learning the art of living in the present, savoring life's simple moments. I can tend to be very future-minded, living life in preparation for what's next, or working towards the things that we are hoping for. And I don't think that's a bad thing, but I do think there's a balance, because I've noticed with myself, the more future-minded I am, the more discontent I can become with the present, or feel like, well, when this happens, then I'll be happy, then our life will be fulfilled. There is this tension of living to a vision, living in preparation for the things that you're hoping for, living with hope to begin with. Hebrews 11:1. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. It's good to have hope. I am reminded of the quote from Anne of Green Gables when I read it last year. It is from chapter 13 called The Delights of Anticipation. It starts with Marilla saying, "You set your heart too much on things, Anne. I'm afraid there'll be a great many disappointments in store for you through life." Anne said, "Oh, Marilla, looking forward to things is half the pleasure of them. You mayn't get the things themselves, but nothing can prevent you from having the fun of looking forward to them. Mrs. Lynde says, 'Blessed are they who expect nothing, for they shall not be disappointed.' But I think it would be worse to expect nothing than to be disappointed." So I love having hope. It's good to have hope. But then there's also the balance of believing that you're blessed right now, because that's when contentment comes in. And I got really convicted of this when we got back from South Africa. I was reading this book and I realized how much of my life I based on, we'll be blessed when this happens. We'll be blessed when this desire is fulfilled. Instead of believing, what if right now is blessed? What if the life that I'm living today, what if I believed that I'm blessed right now? Today is blessed. I realized that a lot of sadness or disappointment comes from believing that I'm not blessed right now, but one day I will be blessed. And how many moments have I missed being present for because I am in hope or anticipation for the better day that I have in my mind in the future? And I'm being vague with my own fill in the blank ... because I think everybody has their own hope deferred that you can picture in your mind. And I think we can tend to make an identity of our hope deferred. That becomes who we are. And I've been very intentional with not making an identity of my hope deferred, and intentional of guarding myself from becoming a victim to my circumstances, to my hope deferred, and instead having faith for the things that I'm hoping for and living to that. And now I'm also practicing believing that I am blessed even while that hope is deferred. There's two practical things that's helped me with believing that I am blessed right now. And one of them is to practice being present. So you've seen all of these caterpillars that I am collecting, and I haven't done this in 5 years. 5 years ago, my sister bought me this cage thing to collect butterfly caterpillars on our land in Kentucky. We had lots of common milkweed, and the caterpillars, the monarch caterpillars, would often get attacked by these parasitic wasps or flies. So if you bring the milkweed and the caterpillars inside the net, that protects them from all of their predators. That 2019 season was one of the hardest years of our life. We endured so many trials and difficulties, and that was such a peaceful outlet for me to walk our 11 acres, look for milkweed, and save these caterpillars that then we got to release the butterflies. And it's been 5 years since I did that, and when I saw the swallowtail caterpillars on our fennel, I was so excited. I got this back out, and I've been bringing the caterpillars inside, and we've been raising them, and now they've turned into cocoons, and it's just been such a fun process. But it's doing things like that, finding joy in the simple moments of every day. How can you make everyday life fun and exciting? It's that whole idea of romanticizing your life, finding things that you enjoy, doing things that you like, and seeing beauty in every moment. That is the art of living in the present. It helps doing things that you enjoy, even if to the world it is completely meaningless. Like in the big picture of life, collecting caterpillars and releasing them as butterflies would be considered to the world a waste of time. But the joy that it brings from the beauty of seeing the full process of God's creation. We'll see how many actually go to the top to make their cocoons and don't use these sticks at all. I never want to miss simple, beautiful moments because I am dreaming of or longing for the future. It's that quote of, what if right now we are living in the good old days? I can't believe this. So I am editing this video. I came out here because I realized I never took a video of the cocoons because there's 13 of them. And there's a butterfly. It just opened. It was the first one. This one right here at the edge. And as I'm looking at it, it's not a swallowtail. I thought these were swallowtail butterflies. What are the odds? I am making a video on hope deferred and this whole process of a caterpillar becoming a butterfly, and as I'm going to record these, and there's a butterfly in here. God, you are amazing. I don't want to open it all the way because there's some cocoons at the top. Come out! Well, I would pick up the one that you're on, but there's a cocoon on there. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, my goodness.
There it is. God bless, you're free.
Wow.
Enjoy.
Let's
Go,
see
go,
where it
go.
goes. Do you see where it goes? Do you see where it went? How cool was that? I had no intention of there being butterflies for this video, and that's amazing. I mean, that must have taken a week. And what I read with the swallowtails was that it was 2 to 4 weeks for the cocoon process. It's amazing. And if you know what type of butterfly that is, comment down below because I have no idea. Again, the art of slow living and gratefulness. That's the second point, is being grateful, learning to be grateful, and counting your blessings. That is something that Scott and I have been doing since February. Every night before we fall asleep, we talk about all the things that we're grateful for that day. And some days we have a long, exhaustive list of things that we're grateful for, And other days, when life is hard, we say we're grateful for the bed, we're grateful for a roof over our head, and we're grateful for the chickens that make us laugh. But we keep that as a habit because it really does make you ponder the things that you are grateful for, that we do have a lot to be grateful for, that our life is blessed right now. And it makes you actually think of those things. And I think there's something about saying it out loud. It can be tempting when you're having a bad day to fall into a victim mindset that life is hard, what's the point, what's the meaning of all of this? But when you reframe your mind to, well, what are the things that I do have to be grateful for, it kind of forces you to think about those things. I like going to bed like that because sometimes if I am having a hard time, having the accountability of Scott to ask me what I'm grateful for, even if I don't feel like saying what I'm grateful for, it pushes me to actually say out loud the things that I am thankful for, even if I don't want to. It gets me out of victimhood and into victory of, I have a lot to be grateful for, life is blessed right now, that we don't have to wait until the desire is fulfilled to be grateful. If you're wondering why I'm flopping these stems around, I am showing you something I learned a few years ago of cutting zinnias to know if they're ready or not to be cut. You just wiggle the stem, and if they flop back and forth, then the stem's not strong enough and the flower will droop over when you put it in a vase. So if you shake the stem and it's sturdy, it doesn't flop around, then the stem is strong enough for you to cut it, and then it will stand straight up in your vase. And so that's how I know if it's ready to be cut, and I wanted to pass that helpful tip along to you. And now to my last point of the art of living in the present. It is good to live with a vision. I've said that many times, but there is the tension of living in the present. And this was played out so perfectly when we were in South Africa. Scott and I always do one big hike, something that is out of our comfort zone. And this time we wanted to do a hike that neither of us have ever done. So we're in the area where Scott grew up, so finding a trail that Scott hasn't done is very rare. But there is a mountain called Matterhorn, and Scott has never hiked it. And so we decided we wanted to get to the top of Matterhorn. And it looks over the valley, and that was the vision that we had. We wanted to get to the top of this mountain and look over the entire valley. We start off on this trail, we end up in the woods, and eventually the trail just disappeared. But we had a general idea of how to get to the top, so we kept going. And there was so much beauty around us. There was flora and fauna and creatures, and it was amazing. It was breathtaking. We're in the mountains, there's fresh air. It is just beautiful. Well, the higher that we got, the more dangerous that it got. And it was wet, there was a lot of dew, and we ended up getting to a point where it was so steep that we were climbing hands and knees straight up. Scott stepped on this rock thing, I was behind him, and this boulder came loose that was bigger than the size of a basketball, and it rolled at me. I turned my shoulder into the hill to block it from hitting me in the face or the chest, and it rolled, hit my shoulder, and went down over my back. And that then put fear in me. I realized how dangerous this was. So after I finally calmed down from that, we were deciding if we should keep going or not. But our vision and our goal was to get to the top. So we were like, okay, let's keep going. I was shaken up, not super thrilled about this experience, but all I wanted to do was get to the top, because what was the point of hiking on this trail if we didn't get to the top? It's all meaningless unless we make it to the final destination. And so we keep going, and then we get to a point where when you look down, it's like if one of us slips on something or the ground gives out beneath us, we are dropping a very far distance. We do not have cell phone service, and this is getting really dangerous. So I said to Scott, I don't feel comfortable. I don't think we should keep going. And it was so devastating for me to say that to him because all I wanted to do was get to the top and look out. We decided to turn around. Scott would have probably kept going. He was not afraid. We turned around, went down, and I was so upset because I thought we've been hiking for over 2 hours and we didn't hit the destination. What was the point of walking this whole way if we never even made it to the top? And it's my fault. I'm the one who wanted to turn around, and I was in such despair that I couldn't even enjoy anything around me. I was so self-pitying, and Scott, he was cheerful, excited. He's like, it's fine, we'll enjoy our walk home. But for me, it was like, no, there was a point to this hike. We were supposed to get to the top, and then once we got to the top, we were going to walk along the ridge line of the mountain and just get to see all of these amazing views, and now we're not going to get to see any of it, and our one big hike is destroyed. I felt like I just couldn't get out of this bad attitude, even though I so wanted to enjoy the moment. I was just so disappointed. So on our way down, we followed the river, and it was a different path than our way up because we didn't have a path anymore. And we ended up hearing water. And as we got closer, we saw this beautiful waterfall. And it was in that moment that my whole attitude shifted. And I was like, wow, God, you were directing our steps. We may not have made it to the top of the mountain, but you've shown us something even more beautiful, or equally as beautiful, or uniquely beautiful. And isn't that so much of our life? We have this idea of how our life should go, but we don't know the big picture. We don't know how God is directing our steps. We don't know the beauty that He's interweaving, and
Bless the water.
Instead of longing for this idea of what we think life should be, what if we're just present in the moment, enjoying the life that God has given us?
Cheers.
How much did I miss on that hiking trail on our way back? How much beauty did I miss because I was so disappointed that we didn't make it to the top, being in self-pity and disappointment? And praise God for that waterfall. It totally shifted my mindset. And the whole rest of the way down the hill, I feel like I had a fresh vision of seeing beauty again, of enjoying the journey, enjoying the adventure. That's one of my friends. She would always say to me when I was worried or stressed out about something in life, she would always tell me, what if you reframe this and thought, what an adventure? What an amazing adventure God has us on. I might not know how this is all going to turn out, but I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to think of this life that God has given me as a beautiful adventure. So my hope is that this video encourages you to be present in the moment that God has you in. Think of today as blessed. We can hope for the future, and we can also believe that we are blessed today and savor the simple, beautiful moments of the life in front of us.
Jump.
Oh, shame.
Dude, he didn't jump. Sir, please jump.